Hi everybody, Eddy here. You're almost to the end of the course. So excited to read some of your assignment twos. Today I'm going to talk a bit about the experimental translation in Tutsi, and other members are going to show work, which I think you by watching you'll get a better sense of what we do. But I wanted to just talk a bit about uh, the larger maybe theoretical questions we're grappling with when we talk about experimental translation. So I'll say what experimental translation is not, which is normal translation, normative translation, translation as we come to know it. That is, it's not about taking a mother language and translating or, rendering the semantics of that language into another language. It's not about taking a French passage and translating it into English and making sure the meaning is all intact. We're sort of jumping around through different languages, different mediums, and we're very much outside of the realm of semantics, or at least we play with semantics a lot. So, what is experimental translation? I would say you know it when you see it. Basically, that's a great working definition of it. So, early definitions of experimental translation within the group were tied a lot more to process. That is, we were not really concerned with the final product. We wanted to think seriously and also playfully about how we can process a text or a work, how we can have the process of engaging with it already produces exciting results. Um, but of course, yes, this definition was always evolving. As we as a collective changed, so did this definition. And so right now, I would say we have a lot more of a loose idea of experimental translation, more loose than it was when we started off. We're focused a lot these days, I've noticed, on the body and how translation figurates into the body. So the body becomes an experiment we are engaged with, and that experiment involves translating the body in many unique ways, and you will see this, I think. Uh, but I think what's central in the idea of experimental translation is the ideas of fluidity, freedom, and mobility, because these are sort of the bedrock for our collective dynamic, a space of openness, and um, there's this sense of non restriction, which I hope all you guys, when you engage in group work, can push to curate that space. But again, you'll get a better sense of what we do when some other members go through some of our work. Though, in general, I can give some ideas of how experimental translation functions. One practice would be something like homophonic translations. That is, translating based off what we hear something sounds like, and not based off the semantics of the word. This is a pretty core process and mode of interpreting in our repertoire. So basically, we'll hear text from another language, and then we might not know the language, or we might sort of know it, but we'll just write down what we hear, not based off meaning, just based off how our ears relate with the sounds. And this is quite relevant for a course on noise. Um, yeah, so as well, I talked a bit about process, but to reiterate, like experimental translation is skewing the idea of an end goal. That is, the translator's end goal is often the translated text, right? When someone wants to translate something, they have the sort of telos in that translation being the finished translation. And we are focused a lot more on process. And what that means is we believe in life as a living translation and creative work as a living translation. And in living this translation, we understand that we can't enclose it, but we have to allow translation to breathe, like bread. And we have to play with it. And you'll see this playful nature all throughout our work, I hope. And in play, you'll also see the centrality of improvisation in our work. So, whereas most translation is uh, grounded on intentionality, that is, it's the vision of a singular translator who knows and has a direct plan as to, or maybe a loose plan, but uh, intentions for how that translation will turn out. Our translation work is more loose. It's grounded on the sort of intuitive reacting to our reactions. You know, so our translation is collaborative in nature always, and what that means is our work is often intertwined into each other, and we're always following the currents of the group space in order to produce um, experimental translation. And yeah, you know, play is so important for us. Being able to play with rigid structures, rules, what is accepted, and to eschew those things, right? We're trying to push the letter in the envelope, so to speak. And, in all of this, and I hope you see it a lot more in the work, we're aiming ultimately, well, we're aiming ultimately to have no ultimate aim, I would say. And we're aiming to work in such a way which also blends our sort of theoretical workings with creative workings, to produce the non-idiomatic works which you guys sort of heard in earlier lectures, and to produce new affects which you guys now are more well aware of, to reconfigure geographical space, to give ourselves new ears and bodies to listen to in the world, to, develop even forms of radical empathy. We're bringing everything in. We're not. There's nothing we can't not bring in, or well, maybe there are some things, but like we're just trying to do something, which people will look at and be like, I don't know how to describe that, or you know, but I hope it's this case where when you see it, you'll be like, okay, I know this is Tetsu when I see it, right? We have this style, which, yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening to this brief musing on experimental translation, and I'll pass it over to someone else to talk more about Tetsu.